Hi everyone, and welcome to another comics and lit analysis video for Shakespeare's Macbeth. In this short video, I'm going to walk you through the conventions of Greek tragedy. Well, wait a second, Shakespeare wasn't Greek, and he certainly wasn't alive during the classical era, around 8th century BC to 5th century AD, when the Greek tragedies were popular. So why go all the way back there? Well, there was a chap called Aristotle who studied dramatics in ancient Greece, and his ideas were so influential they can still be seen in Shakespearean tragedies. So although Macbeth is a Shakespearean tragedy, Shakespeare was really building on the ideas that had come before him, so we'll definitely take a look at Aristotle's ideas. So tragedy. It's a genre or type of writing that explores human suffering, usually through the lens of the main character or hero who suffers a tragic downfall through the terrible events encountered during the plot. The name tragedy was first given to plays performed in an area of Greece known as Attica during the 5th century. Plays such as Oedipus Rex, where the protagonist, Oedipus, king of Thebes, unwittingly murders his own father and marries his mother, were popular and asked the audience to consider deep, searching questions about morality, what it means to be human, and how to explore the more disturbing aspects of human nature. The Greek philosopher Aristotle defines some of the core elements of tragedy in his study of dramatic art, Poetics. Although it is unlikely Shakespeare was directly aware of Aristotle's Poetics, he was certainly inspired by classical Roman writers such as Seneca and Plutarch, whose ideas had resurfaced during the Renaissance. These writers were very much following in the traditions set out before them by the ancient Greeks. So let's take a closer look at some of Aristotle's main ideas about tragedy. I will link each of these specifically to the plot and characters of Macbeth. First, the tragic hero. The protagonist of the story can be referred to as the tragic hero. This is the character of high stature, such as a king or noble, who over the course of the play's events will fall from their position of power or success, experiencing a tragic downfall. The tragic hero will have noble or good qualities, which will allow the audience to sympathize with them at the end of the play, when everything goes wrong. Macbeth fits the bill for a tragic hero, as he is of noble birth. His title, Thane of Glamis, at the beginning of the play, identifies him as a wealthy landowner. Macbeth is also heroic. He is praised by King Duncan as valiant cousin, worthy gentleman, for his bravery in battle at the start of the play, and is raised to a higher rank, Thane of Cawdor, as a result of his selfless service to king and country. Our next feature is the hero's error, also known as hamartia. The Greek word hamartia translates as to miss the mark or commit error. The tragic hero usually makes an error or takes a step which initiates a series of events leading to their downfall. Have you ever heard the phrase, to err is human? Well, hamartia is all about humanizing the tragic hero so the audience can sympathize with their fate. Macbeth's error, or hamartia, is often analyzed as ambition. Though some interpret his downfall as orchestrated by the Weird Sisters, it is also commonly ascribed to Macbeth's ambition for power and status, which helps set the events in motion. Consider his reaction to the prophecies. This supernatural soliciting cannot be good, cannot be evil. He recognizes the potential for evil within the sisters' prophecies, but still entertains the possibility of becoming king. This excessive ambition can be considered as hubris, which is excessive pride or arrogance. Macbeth's hubris allows him to become obsessed with the vision of becoming king, so much that he is able to be manipulated by Lady Macbeth into killing Duncan, and later in the play, his desire to hold on to power leads to reckless decisions, such as the murder of Banquo and Banquo's son Fleance. These foolhardy pursuits seem to hasten his inevitable downfall. Another key element of tragedy, defined by Aristotle, is peripeteia, which means a change of fortune. This denotes the section of the narrative where things seem to turn against the hero, and events begin to lead from bad to worse. Some analysts consider the murder of Duncan to be the peripeteia, since Macbeth has acted on his overreaching ambition, yet is nearly undone by his own horror at his heinous crime. However, since Macbeth is able to cover up the murder and becomes king, it is harder to argue it as a true change of fortune. But when Macbeth orders the murder of Banquo and Fleance, his son, there is a clear point of unravelling where fate seems to turn against him. Banquo orders Fleance to fly, good Fleance, thou mayest revenge, suggesting Macbeth's grip on power will be loosened. Anagnorisis is the name given to a critical realization, or a moment where the tragic hero comes to recognize the truth about themselves. This moment usually occurs near the end of the narrative and creates the intense emotional response in the audience, which is the aim of a tragedy. For Macbeth, his final soliloquy in Act 5, Scene 5, following the news of Lady Macbeth's death, can be seen as his anagnorisis. His world-weary and bitter statement that life's but a walking shadow, that signifies nothing, signals his anagnorisis. He realizes that his life means nothing, in spite of all he has gained in material wealth and status. He now sees it all as worthless. It is perhaps the most poignant and heart-wrenching scene in the play. Aristotle considered the aim of a tragedy is to create a feeling of catharsis. This is a feeling of purification and release for the audience. Through watching the suffering and struggle of the characters on stage, the audience can feel pity and fear, which in turn purges or frees them of these emotions so that they leave the theatre feeling uplifted. As Macbeth draws to its bloody conclusion and the once great hero is brutally killed in combat by the vengeful Macduff, the audience is released from the tension created by Macbeth's spiralling evil deeds. In his final lines, Macbeth refuses to be captured and executed as a traitor, exclaiming, "Before my body I throw my warlike shield. Lay on, Macduff, and damned be him that first cries, 'Hold, enough.'" Here Shakespeare reminds the audience of Macbeth's prowess as a warrior in his steely determination to fight until the end. However, the catharsis is achieved as his life does come to an end, and Malcolm, the true heir to the throne, leaves to be crowned king. Shakespeare's tragic structure owes much to the foundations laid out in Aristotle's Poetics, and the tropes of a tragic hero, hamartia, hubris, peripeteia, anagnorisis, and catharsis, can all be applied to your analysis of the plot, deepening your ability to study this great masterpiece. In the simplest terms, remember to analyse Macbeth's rise to power through the prophecies of the Weird Sisters, which precedes his dramatic downfall through his error of overreaching ambition. Like all great tragedies, the hero, Macbeth, is a good but flawed individual whose downfall reminds us all to be wise and humble in our choices, recognizing the potential for corruption or disaster that follows an error.